Welcome viewers to my regular twice yearly look at Australian stocks. Doesn't time fly when you're having so much fun trading? Can't believe it's, we're well into the second half of 2024 and already I'm back on looking at the Australian stock portfolio. So I'm going to do things a little different in this video. There's no point sending out these videos without tracking what you've looked at, recommended for people to investigate further. So I'm going to start with the performance from the start of this year, see what those stock recommendations have done so far. Then I'm going to look at the Australian stock market as a whole, see where that might be heading next, and then finally we're going to get into the shortlist, and it's a big shortlist this time, and a bumper selection of my favourite Australian stocks to look out for the rest of this year. So with that, let's get into it. So like I said in the intro, I'm going to look at past performance and the previous video I did back in January of 2024. For those new to the channel, I'll put that at the end of this video if you want to watch it again. But this is a bar chart of the 9 stocks I recommended, and if you'd have bought all of them at the same time, it was a great stock pick selection this time round. Really only Ordinate, the red one there on the right hand side, and James Hardie really being the downers, but some good upside from Pro Medicus in the middle there, over 30%, and Hub there just coming up to 30%. So if you'd have bought them all at that time of the video, which I don't recommend by the way, always use technical analysis to time your way in to get the best results, then overall the portfolio selection wasn't bad this time around. We had 6 winners and 3 losers, so a good result there. Obviously these still remain on the portfolio for the remainder of the year. I'll be watching them closely. Let's see if any of them got into the shortlist later again for the second half. Remember, these are long-term stock plays, so don't rush to make any decisions based off of what I've said in this video. Always make your own mind up, always use your strategy, your plan to get in and out of these stock selections. Let's dive into some analysis around the overall Australian stock market. I'm using the Australia 200 index here. The weekly chart in front of you now, going back to 2020. Always good to check the sort of macro market feel, what's driving the overall structure of the index here, because that's going to help give momentum to our bullish stock picks that we're going to look at later. But looking at the charts, it's looking quite good at the moment for the Australian stock market, pushing up now towards new highs just over the 8,000 area. You can see down the bottom we're turning positive indicator wise. The DMI trend there, you can see it's been green since January, so it's been a good 2024 so far for the market. A little blip there back in April time, sort of stabilized, and like I said, pushing on upwards. If it can break on upwards there, we're looking at 9,000, 9,100 as the next upside. Not much volume around here at the moment to talk about. You can see the point of control back at around about 7,000, so that could be our pullback, worst case sort of look in the sort of medium term. That 61.8% Fibonacci line, again below that at 6,700, let's call it, where there's a lot of price action playing out there if we go back over the years. Another stop down, maybe 7,300, give you some numbers there, and like I said, that Fibonacci there, you can see all that volume there, and then below that it's all the way back down to the mid 4,000s, but at the moment looking quite encouraging. So let's focus in a bit more on the shorter term by using the Orocobre charts. Now, what have we got? Let's just clear those drawings there. So what have we got? We've got a 20 block size here for the index. and we're going back last few months. Let's just pull it back a bit further, shall we? Taking back to March, and really I suppose the takeaway from this one is it's been pretty sideways between this range. Let's see if we can mark it, sort of between 7.5 and 7, 8.5 maybe, and we're just starting to see that nice little break up there. The indicators at the bottom, DMI looking all good and green and positive. Stochastics here just changing direction. You can see where we've got this new sort of pause in the price action happening around the 8,000s. It's understandable, breaking new highs. It's just trying to establish a new base to see where it can go next. In terms of targets, let's draw on some Fibonacci numbers there. If we're still bullish, shorter term, maybe we could be penciling in 8.2, 8.3 sort of as potential upside. Again, we've got to build up more volume to hold support. If it fails here, we're looking at this Fibonacci ladder, 7.950, and then this key Fibonacci 61.8% line, 7.850, where you can see the breakup occurred from, and then you get into all this volume noise again. But it's been flat for last few months with that little spike upwards. Let's see whether it can hold and push on further. So let's dive into the short list now, and as you can see up in the top left, I've got 40 stocks, and you will notice that some of those stocks are still remaining on the list from this year's January look at. My 9 to pick, plus some of those that were on the peripheral in that short list as well. They're also remaining on the list, so you'll see familiar names, but I found quite a lot of stocks this time round. Went way out into the ASX All Ordinaries to dig as deep as I could to find the most interesting stocks I could. So let's quickly just run through the list. We got Hub24, Nuix, Resolute Mining, Insurance Australia Group, TOS, Coden, Catalyst, Origin Energy, ALS, Bellevue, Catapult, Cochlear, Orocobre Mining, Superloop, Westgold, Pro Medicus, Magnetic Resources, Capital Health, Zip, Electro Optic Systems, Integrated Research, Austal Limited, Ordinate Group, Beacon Lighting, Collins Food, Helia Group, Iris Limited, James Hardy Industries, Megaport, Main Pharma, Opthia Limited, Perpetual, PYC Therapeutics, Red 5 Limited, Reese, 7 Group Holdings, Temple & Webster, Unibel, Rod Amco, Westfield, and Wise Tech Global. Now that's the list. Now apologise for my pronunciation for any of you Australians out there that I've said those names in the wrong accent. Always get that wrong, but apologies. We're more interested in the numbers than the pronunciation, so hopefully you can forgive me there. So now let's just see what that shortlist makeup is in terms of sector, spread, and a bit more detail around the industry. So in terms of simple distribution, as you can see there on the left, we've got a good mix, 16 stock sectors. Biggest groups there: non-energy minerals 18%, technology services 16%, finance 11%, health technology 11%, then a whole plethora of other sectors, but a good mix. Now also at the end of this video, I'll put a recent video I've done on gold. I think gold's looking very good for 3,000 this year possibly. So Australia, great for commodity stocks and gold mining stocks. So that's a sector you might want to take a closer look at, and we've got some I think on our list coming up soon, and especially on the shortlist they were on there, but that's a sector definitely worth looking into. And as you can see on the right hand side, the industries, 26 of them, precious metals 18%, making up the biggest chunk there, and like I said, gold featuring heavily in that lot. We've got packaged software 13%, pharmaceuticals major 5%, wholesale distributors 5%, and then, like I said, evenly spread finance, rental, leasing, a whole mix of different sectors, which is good for diversification. But like I said, they are the broad 40. We want to focus in on, I want to focus in on my favorites out of that list, and I'm going to shorten them now. We're going to go through some charts to give you some ideas for you to take away. Go away, do your own home research, due diligence on these stocks. Don't just rush in to buy them. Do your homework and build them in around your trading plan. I did warn you, it's a bumper stock selection this time. 14 stocks instead of the usual 9, and I even struggled to keep it at 14. There was a lot that just missed out on the shortlist, some really good picks there. So do dig further than the 14 I'm going to show you here. And I'm going to start with Pro Medicus. They were on the list back in January. Great performance year to date so far. I think they're up, what did we say, about 37-38% for the year so far. So really good, strong performance. Let's look at the weekly chart, see what's going on. Well, you can see that lovely trend. Really, it's been kicking in since 2022. It goes back all that way there till the summer there, like I said, for kicking off. And it's, well, let's have a look how much it's actually up since then. It's up 275%, massive amounts there. So let's just zoom in there, just see what's been going on. The last few weeks haven't been that great for Pro Medicus. Bit of a, maybe call it consolidation around those highs. 144, maybe a bit of profit taking in there, but maybe it's your chance to buy the dip and watch it move on upwards again, if you're still bullish Pro Medicus in the longer term. Now, if we got some potential upside numbers to play with, then I'd be thinking, well, we could be talking 180 maybe there. You can see up there, and then nearly just under the 200. If we look in at volume, where there's not much, we are in blue sky territory at the moment. You can see down there, it's a long run down to that 38.2% Fibonacci line at $65 there. I'd use the ladder as the risk management there if you're a longer term trader here. The Fibonacci ladder, that is, 115, let's round it to 95 key Fibonacci level there. You can see where that recent breakout occurred, April time. Some downside numbers there for you to watch out for. Down the bottom, indicators all very bullish as well, but at the moment, it's looking good for Pro Medicus going forwards. Then we have ALS, I'm hoping that's the way you say it, ALS or ALS Limited, a professional commercial service industrial company based out of Brisbane. Provide professional technical services in the areas of testing, measurement and inspection across the globe, specifically Africa, Asia Pacific, Europe, Middle East, Americas, operating in 2 segments, commodities and life sciences. Performance wise, this year compared to some of the others in the list, it's been okay, up about 12-13%, but it's got potential for breakout. That's what interested me in this one. At the bottom, the trend starting to warm up, more bullish. The moment is not the right time possibly to buy with that indicator, but you can see the trend since the beginning of the year has been positive, and it's trying to push through this near sort of $15 mark. If it can get through there, we're talking $17.5, $19, which is a good decent return upside. We're talking possibly 25-30% in the near future. Downsides to the trade, well, point of control around the $13 mark. A lot of volume there. You can see historically wise, price running through that zone, then a big gap down. Again, use the Fibonacci ladder as your key numbers to watch. Then the bottom of that, you could call it range, maybe 10, 12.5, 11 sort of area. One to watch out for. Now, Bellevue Gold, it's featured on previous lists, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm watching gold closely. Link to that video on gold at the end of this video. But Bellevue Gold, solid stock from Perth. It and its subsidiaries engage in exploration, evaluation of gold properties in Australia. Holds 100% interest in the Bellevue Gold Project in Kalgoorlie in Western Australia, and could benefit from the more positive interest in gold, the China buying. And on the chart, well, you can see the nice run up that it's had since October of 22, near 225% upsides from here. Well, we'd look maybe 2.5, 2.6. Let's just pull that down. Let's give you some upper numbers. Maybe the late twos and just around the early threes. Potential upside in terms of return if it breaks through these highs. That's just over $2. We're talking 50% up to those higher three numbers. Downwide, I think you've got to look at this consolidation that's been going through at the moment as your key areas. You can see the key volume around 1.9, bit of a scoop there down to the next Fibonacci at 1.4. Then you pick up a lot of volume. Support resistance, around 1.2 area, but that could be potential downsides, but it's still looking good, and the momentum on the fundamentals on like the gold sector, I think key to this one breaking out of that consolidation zone. So something a bit different with this choice, Codan Limited, electronic equipment and parts technology sector company from Mawson Lakes in Australia. Develops technology solutions for the United Nations organisations, mining companies, security and military groups, government departments, individuals and small scale miners. So really interesting company there. Metal detection, that sort of thing, in the going real deep technology wise. So again, a lot of sectors that it's involved with that are potentially on the rise. So this for me is a recovery play. Looking on the charts, it did have a really bad run from 21 down to the end of 22, 82% fall in its price. But since then, when it started to recover early 23, it's up 240%. Lovely, nice looking uptrend there. Let's start with the downsides first. This is the key one, this 2.3 area, where you can see a lot of sideways consolidation, a lot of price over there on the left as well, and even further so back. So that's the important one. But we're now going back up through that big down run that it had. Not a lot of volume there. It's got another nice little nodule of volume there that could provide support around the 10.5 area. Nice, and then we scoop our way up, hopefully pushing back towards those highs. If we can get back towards the highs from where it is, that's a 56% recovery play. So we're now back to healthcare with a company called Cochlear Limited from Sydney. What do they do? Implantable hearing solutions for children and adults worldwide. So, a different play, different diversification to your portfolio potential. Interesting company. Been trending up very nicely for a couple of years now. Consolidated, that's the nice pattern there. Like consolidation patterns, because it often mean for an explosive breakout upwards. What are we talking upwards wise? I think got to target 400 first, then 425, and then mid to later 400s as time goes on. But we've got to watch this, like I said, breakout from this consolidation. Bit of volume building up there, not a lot. If it fails here, there is that scoop back down, and it's a good decent way down to the 250 to 35 area. Trend wise, looking good there on the DMI. Timing wise, not quite right yet. Like I said, see if we can break out of those highs and push on upwards. So this one's another one of those recovery mining stocks I like to look at. Catalyst Metals explores, evaluates mineral properties in Australia, also produces gold and silver. So again, we've got that angle in on the gold, based in Perth. Chart wise, you can see the gloomy downside for a lot of the chart picture, that big pullback. And then we've got this nice double bottom in here, and then the break on up through the just over the $1 mark. You can see the point of control. If we fail, our support might be around this 75 cents type mark, but we're hoping for more upside. It's going to have to get through this resistance here. You can see a lot of price action through there, not too much volume there. We'll be looking for a push back towards those highs around 3.5, and again from where we are now, that's 100% possible return. Now these guys have featured on the lists before. Insurance Australia Group, clues in the name, what sector they're in. Operate mostly in Australia and New Zealand. Direct insurance, intermediary segment, providing personal lines and some commercial lines. Looking good chart wise, been pushing on up nicely from the lows back in June 22, up 80 odd percent, recovering very nicely. Down the bottom, trend and timing both looking good at the moment to the upside. Potential targets, what can we be looking for? Well, if we can get through this high area, there's a bit of a consolidation, pattern building. We're talking 8.25, 8.75, and then the early 9s, which in terms of return from where we are is about 30%. Downsides, you can see this volume profile here. We've probably got down to this Fibonacci line around $6, and then again it could slip quite easily down to about $5, but we're hopefully bullish. Insurance Australia, and looking for, like I said, the $9 area. Now this is probably one of the more risky stock picks on this list. Orocobre Mining, small company, not so liquid in terms of volume where they are. Subiaco, what do they do? Well, they engage in exploration, operation and development of mineral properties across Australia. What are they? Gold, nickel, copper, lithium, base metal deposits. Plus it's got an interesting Davyhurst gold project as well, so it's got that in on the gold that we're interested in at the moment. So again, I would say this is an outside bet, sort of risky recovery on the metals mining sector taking off. If it can, there's plenty of upside there. It has fallen, you can't see on this chart, going years back quite a bit, but upside wise, maybe $1 as an upside potential move, which as you can see is plenty of a decent return, 115%, let's call it. Downwise though, we've got the volume mostly playing down here, which is under this spike where it's reached its recent highs, going back to 2019. What could we be looking at? A pullback, maybe 30 cents, 18-19 cents back into this sort of zone here. But it's on a recovery. It's been from those lows up, you're talking thousands of percent here. So if you got lucky back when it was virtually nothing, you've done very well for yourself. But like I said, it's something maybe to do a bit of research on and look into in a bit more detail. So an energy company next, Origin Energy, call it a electrical utilities and IPPs, utility sector company, Australian based, engaged in exploration production of nat gas, electricity generation, both wholesale and retail. It's just a different slant on the commodity sector that we've looked at so far. We've got a lot of mining stuff, but you know, maybe a different, like I said, angle in for you guys. Origin Energy on the chart, again, it's been up nicely from those lows May 21, 180, 190%. You can see nice, you know, cementing of the lows in there around just under $4. We've been on a nice uptrend, pushing recent highs around $11, looking to move up, I would think, to $15, $16 to the upside. Downward wise, we got a lot of volume around this key 61.8 line, a sub Fibonacci there just at $9.50. So there's one level of support. You can actually see, you know, where it broke on up through that previous high spike there. Downwise, like I said, $8.33, where you got a lot of this sideways action going back to November 22. Down the bottom there, indicators also looking bullish. So yeah, another one to add to the watch list. And now for something completely different, as they would say, TOS Limited, telecommunications technology company, owns and operates mobile network in Singapore. As you can see, it's been doing pretty well, pretty new to the stock market back in 2020. Headquarters Macquarie Park, quite small company, about 150 employees, but as you can see from the chart, been doing particularly well. Let's take it from those lows to the highs. We're talking over 1,000% return so far. You know, lovely strong uptrend. Both the indicators supporting that. Again, bear in mind this hasn't been around for long, so not a lot of historical data there to give us a full picture, but you know, there's potential in it. Upside wise, maybe these sort of numbers, we're talking 7.5, 6.75, maybe early $6 area. Not a lot of volume here until you get back to the bottom, so use the Fibonacci ladder as your key price points. You've got a lot of sideways action there through just under $4, and again the same at that key 61.8 Fibonacci line, just over $3. Next, another gold company from Perth, Westgold Resources, exploration, operation, mining, treatment of gold assets in Western Australia. Again, it's going to be a play around whether you think gold is going to take off for the rest of the year. Maybe one of the weaker looking charts there, trying to break through those highs November 2020. Still got a bit to push there, which is the $3 mark. You can see a nice tasty up run. Downside that 61.8% point of control line around $2. Upwise, well, we could be looking at maybe 3.5, let's call it 3.5, just under 4, and then maybe 4.5 potential wise, talking 65% there. So that's a Westgold Resources. You'll be pleased to hear just 3 stocks to go, and we're now in Yangpeng Coal, Australia, a coal energy company engaging in exploration, development, production, marketing of metallurgical and thermal coal in many countries actually: Australia, China, Japan, Taiwan, South Korea, Europe, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, India, and the list goes on. So a coal play for you here, and in terms of charts, you can see it hasn't all been a one-way street. We had this time back in 2017 where the price really collapsed on down, then a big, you know, nondescript area of action, and it has been producing a lot of sideways action since then, so from April 22 onwards, but it's just poking its head out. That's what interested me with this guy here. Let's zoom in a bit. You can see point of control, resistance to the price down there at $5.80. You've got that Fibonacci line there, $6.50. That could be a little pullback and buy the dip opportunity to then push on through to $8, $9.50, and then $11.50. As you saw earlier, Hub 24 were on the previous list. They're an investment banking, investment services company based out of Sydney. You can see nice looking weekly chart there. You know, we had this nice run up in April 2020 to October 21, then a sideways bunch of action, and then we broke up through that key $30 mark around out there, and then it's been a nice one-way street up to $45. Both the indicators at the bottom looking positive. In terms of downsides, focusing on the volume areas, we've got a slip down to the $30 again if it starts to fail, and then again under that down to about $15 where it started that nice, you know, sort of move on upwards. And to the upside, if we just pull it in there, where could we be targeting? 55, 61, you know, and maybe an ambitious $69 all the way up there, which is from where we are at, you know, we're talking just maybe under 50% return. And it'd be rude not to finish my selections with not stopping by another mining company. We've got Resolute Mining here, again from Perth. What do they do? Prospecting, mining, exploration, Africa, the UK, Australia, mainly gold and silver. So it's following our idea maybe that gold might be, you know, a bit more bullish. Another recovery type of play. You can see, you know, a scoop of, you know, lack of volume there to that next point around about $1. And then we want to maybe use the ladder, Fibonacci ladder up there, 1.25, 1.5, you know, nearly $2 with a major upside of $2.33. That's a long way up in terms of return. If you can get back to even the highs, it's 175%, and up to that target, 250%. Indicators at the bottom both looking good at the moment. For the upside, you know, maybe want to be a bit more cautious on, but with that volume gap in there, we could see $1 quite quickly, which is a nice return, maybe 1.25 push, and then, like I said, the outside bets are on the way to 2.33. So a lot for you to think about and take in there. Always remember to do your own homework before jumping in on any of these stocks. Let me know in the comments what you think of the selection. Are there any that I'm missing you're watching that you think we should all know about? Love to hear from you. Now, if you've liked today's video, please give us the thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the other buttons to receive future notification of content that I'll be producing. And coming up, those two videos that I mentioned earlier for you to watch now.